Welcome to Bitter Reality Brewing. We're brewing another beer. Today it's In the Flesh, Apricot Saison. Yes, In the Flesh is another Blondie song. Another name, just figured it was very appropriate. If you've ever had an apricot, very fleshy. Excited, although we've done the Anvil a few times. We're doing 220 today, so it should cut our heat up times in half. According to everything I'm reading, everybody's saying literally the times it takes to heat up is cut in half. That's awesome. We have our Scylla, of course, from Jaded. Did a great job. Gonna push it again. Love cutting the cooling times down. It's just very, very nice. No one wants to sit there and watch water boil or watch water chill. We've got 6.5 pounds of Pilsner. We've got 12 ounces of Munich, a pound of wheat malt, and then I really didn't want to put rye in, but I gave in and I'm doing rye. Put 8 ounces of rye. I figured a little hint of spiciness will go really nice with the apricot. We're doing 2 steps with the apricot. We've got an apricot puree here, which a lot of people are familiar from Vintners. I've never used it. We're going to put only 1 can in instead of 2 cans, but we're going to do 1 can at the high point of the fermentation. Some people say it's a little too much when you put 2 cans in. Other people say it's not enough when you do 1. A lot of people, including I guess Dry Dock, who makes a Apricot Blonde, if I remember right. Supposedly it's one of the best in the world. It's amazing. But what they said is they use real apricots, and then at the very end, as they finish it, they put a little bit of artificial flavoring just to kind of kick everything up and bring the aroma out, but they only use very little. So instead, what we're going to do is do a can of this, which is 100% pureed apricot, no seeds, no nothing. And then we're going to use Amoretti's artesian apricot to add any additional flavoring to the end to really kind of bring that apricot out without bringing out any additional sweetness. Even though it does have sugar, it's not going to have a lot. And we'll try doing it again based on how our pineapple turns out when we put that in the keezer and chill it down to 36 and add the flavoring. That'll give us a better idea of how much flavor punch each ounce of this actually kicks in or delivers, however you want to say it. I'm excited. Took a little while to get the electrician out and get the 220 run, but wish I made the cord a little longer. Other than that, we'll be fine. Let's get brewing. Okay, we're up to temperature. We're at 149, even though I set it for 148. I want to get a good picture of this. This is where the recirculating wort hits. It helps displace it so that way it's a little more even across the grain bed. Get this out of the way. And for the love of God, Anvil, or anyone, in the comments section, let me know if there's a way to make that stay in there without gluing it in. Absolute pain in the neck. It's such a minute, tiny little piece, but it's the details that drive me nuts, and that is driving me nuts. This is what I want everybody to be able to get a good look at. As you can see, it's perforated all the way around the edge and on the bottom. A little more difficult to clean sometimes to get the stuff out of the inside unless you're holding it straight up and spraying it and getting drenched. But a lot easier overall to clean compared to many that I've dealt with, including the Grainfather. So I'm going to lower this here in here. I'm trying to keep this ring in here and see if we can keep it in there the whole time. Okay, our temperature dropped literally 1 degree. So we're at 220. It did heat up quite rapidly. That's a good thing and a bad thing. A good thing because it did it quickly. The bad thing is I usually start getting everything prepared while it's heating up. So I had to hustle a little faster today, and it was done before I was. So I'm going to go ahead, add the grains. As you can see, I added my rice hulls. I just don't like to chance it, and I have a pound of wheat in here and 8 ounces, so 1.5 pounds between wheat and rye. I just don't want any issues. So we'll get this going. Once we're all mashed in, we'll resume. Okay, as you can hear, we have our background music. Beautiful birds chirping away. We've got everything mashed in. And put the plate on here. See if we can get the silicone to stay. I laugh out of frustration and nothing more. Yeah, it's not perfect. And then of course I screwed up and have to turn it. There we go. Please, if you have a suggestion, put it in the comments. I definitely need to figure out how to keep that silicone in place. Maybe Anvil will come out with another piece that we can put in there to replace that piece of silicone, since obviously it doesn't fit. Plus, I need to buy another one of these pumps for doing transfers. I love how quiet this thing is. It's insanely powerful, which actually I need to put the little clamp on there, but we'll grab that. There we go. Like I said, insanely quiet. We're at 75 minutes. I'm gonna crank it up to 168. There we go. We're heating our Sparge water, and I found a solution to the silicone. I just take it out. Just take it out completely. Done. There we go. Slowing down a little more than I expected. Problem solved. It's that time. Gonna shut our pump down. We have our Sparge water. It's already at about 165 Fahrenheit, so it should be about 170 here very shortly. This. I have learned if you take your time and go very slowly, you can usually get the green basket out without hitting it. But like I said, you have to go very, very slowly. And as you can see just how awkward this little bit is. Some minor refinements. There we go. Okay. And don't have a huge grain bill today, but it's still heavy. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and kick this bad boy up to boil so we don't have to wait for it, even though I have a feeling it's going to get there very quickly. Especially with the 220. Yeah, that's good. It says 212. Didn't say boil, maybe. Yep, there it goes. I threw brewing salts in earlier, but this time we have a second edition of brewing salts. What this is it's basically chalk and baking soda. They add a little bit of alkalinity because we're going for a balanced water addition here. I'll add those when we get ready to start the boil. We don't want to add them when we were doing the mash because we don't want to add that alkalinity. We want to keep it more on the acid side. Okay, once the water gets up, I'll begin sparging, which actually I could probably start right now. Thinking of 165, it's probably hit 170 right now. We were at 207 and I started getting a rolling boil, so I dropped the temperature or dropped the power down to 75 just to be safe and bring it back up as I need. But as you can see, we got a nice rolling boil going. And that started at 207, not 212. So if you move it up to 220 on your power, definitely be careful because normally it wouldn't start rolling like that until about 210, 212 on the 110. Very, very nice. I may leave it at 75%. It's cranking away just fine. Last thing I need is a boil over. We have 3 ounces of hops. We're going to be adding it the last 10 minutes of the boil. So we have no hop additions until the last 10 minutes. See, I'm at 75% power. I'm already at 212. I may want to bring it down a little bit. The experimental 7270 is spicy, resinous, tangerine, ripe peach, apricot, mango. The reason I picked it is the apricot, of course. And then Calista, which we have 2 ounces of, citrus, apricot, stone fruit, passion fruit, red berries, gooseberries. It just made sense. The other catch is we're going to be using White Labs 568 yeast. It's going to give us a little bit of pear and some spiciness, which I think is appropriate. I thought about using 565 or even 550 from White Labs, but both of those were not viable. And if you're one of those people who reuses yeasts and starts your yeast starters, huge recommendation. Every time I do a yeast and I'm preparing for a brew the next day, I always have at least 1 or 2 backups. So right now I have 5 starters going, and the benefit of not using those other 4 is that I'm repopulating and increasing a yeast that I may have had for a year, 2, 3 years now, but every month I'm going through making sure I keep them going. They do change a little bit over time, but overall they do great. So currently we're on 568 White Labs, and that could change at a moment's notice, but I did check on it this morning and it looked pretty good. We'll rock on. We got a 90-minute boil. Last 10 minutes we'll be adding hops, our super moss, our yeast nutrient, pretty much everything right the last 10 minutes. Okay, so we're at 5.5 gallons. We're on our last 10 minutes. This is the super moss and 4 ounces of chilled wort. Dump that in. Grab a half a teaspoon of white yeast nutrient. And our one and only hop addition. Drop that in. And our 3 ounces. 7270 and Calista. 2 ounces of Calista. Okay, so we got 10 minutes and then we'll take Scylla and drop her on in and chill the things down. Let's do this. Off. Power's off. We're sitting at 212. Time to drop Scylla. Crank her on. And there it goes. Water's flowing full blast and the temperature will start dropping. We're sitting at 212 right now. And about almost 1249. And we've already dropped 12 degrees and cranking. We're down 30 degrees, 40 degrees. It's gonna take a little bit, few minutes. Figure it's not interesting. Figure no one enjoys watching water boil, so you're probably not gonna wanna watch this chill for a full 4 or 5 minutes, since it does take a little longer since our water is a bit warmer here.